Hello, friends, and welcome. So I am going to have a little bit of pranayama, but before I do, I want to do just a little talk, a little teaching talk, right? And that is when I start to move into some of these bigger pranayamas, right? Bigger breath work things. I start to get really cautious as a teacher because I think they get taken to extremes. And I think we tend to be extremists. I know I was, right? And I did some damage back in the day. And it's like, so don't try to push or try to make this stuff happen. When we start to do like work with bandha and breath control and various things, start simple, start small, and let that be enough as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be more, but this past 2 weeks when we've been working with our pelvic floor and our corset, and we've had these blocks in between our legs, and some of y'all are probably like, oh, really? Why do I have to? Because that's the foundation. That's the stuff that teaches us how to start to engage the perineum, the pelvic floor, these muscles we need when we move into these deeper bits of breath work, when we move into, right, bandhas. I mean, if you're just trying to do bandhas without doing that foundational work, it's not going to serve you well. And then the other thing I'll say about Agni Sara before we start to move towards it, we're going to do a shorter version of this. I did there's like a 25-minute version class with a sequence of movements. That is what I would suggest doing if you have the time, but just so you start to play with it, right? Agni Sara, if you're doing this and you're starting to get anxious, irritable, angry, like these various things, be really cautious. This breath work is not meant to cause you anxiety or stress. It's meant to give you calm and peace. However, it's starting to move towards a little more intensity, or I don't want to call it extreme, but and so for some of us, if we're not ready for it, or if we're doing it incorrectly, it might move us to a stress response. And then it's not the breath for you to work with right now, maybe ever, right? Or maybe find another teacher who speaks deeper to you, etc. Or working in person so I can see your abdomen and what you're doing. But so that's just my precaution in general to us human beings, especially from the Western world, where we think better is more, right? No pain, no gain. We will our body to do things. Like, I watch it every day, and it's really hard to watch. And it's also hard not to feel responsible for people going to these extreme lengths. If I'm kind of coaching you into it, right? And so this is my way to say, I'm really trying to bring you slowly and gently and move you towards it with foundational steps, so you're prepared for the more advanced breath work, the more advanced postures, right? And then hopefully you find them with ease instead of forcing yourself into them. Yeah. Okay, awesome sauce. So then I'm going to go ahead and bring that idea of Agni Sara, right? So Agni Sara, we want to do this on an empty stomach. We do not want a full stomach, and you'll figure out why in a little bit, I think. So that's the first thing, have an empty stomach. And then you really need to have that foundation of pelvic floor and the corset, the transversus abdominis. And so again, I just did a video where you start to kind of go into all of that. But if you already know that, or you're already practicing Agni Sara, let's go ahead and add that in. So we're going to do it from a standing position, right? And some people just put their hands on their knees. If I have slippery pants, I literally grab my pants, right? And I just kind of use them as a little bracing tool. But you basically just want to brace yourself. So the first thing I want you to do, right, is I want you to let your tailbone lift up and move the spine into just a little bit of an arch, and you can reach the chest forward, yeah? And then exhale, let the tailbone move down and just move into a little bit of what would be cat if we were on hands and knees, right? So they're baby, they're not little, they're not huge. Let the tailbone move up into cow, and then let the tailbone move down into cat. Okay, so that's the move, right? Now I'm going to start, you're going to still do that, and I'm going to add some bits in. So listen up, right? This time when you exhale and round, pull the belly about 3 finger lengths. If I put my index finger on my belly button, it would be my ring finger. From that point, pull up towards the spine as well as towards the crown of the head. And so you're going to do that a couple of times, right? We'll get to the Agni Sara. Don't worry. This is the foundation, right? So you pull gently that low belly up to the spine, right? And up to the crown of the head. And then next time you do it, just notice when you do that, do you feel how your pelvic floor naturally starts to lift towards the crown of the head? Can you sense that? So now the next time you go up with that, you're going to try to do the hollowing of the abdomen. And I'm going to show you one round just so you kind of know what I'm talking about. So you can come up and take a rest if you want to, right? So I do everything we've just done. We tuck the tailbone down just a little bit. We pull up from this place all the way up through the crown of the head as well, right? And then there's this hollowing of the abdomen. You ready? So I want to point out two more things and then we're going. One, it's like this sucking up of the tissue and the organic body, right? Up towards my spine and hollowing out my abdomen. Before I have to take the inhale, so don't go extreme with this, and right, you've gone too far. I need to be able to soften my belly entirely and then inhale. Yeah. So let's go. So inhale, let your tailbone move up just a little bit. And exhale, pull the tailbone down just a little bit. Pull the belly up to the spine, right? That low belly, and then hollow out your abdomen. Before you inhale, let the belly soften, right? And then inhale. Do one regular breath. And we're all probably in slightly different timing, and that's okay. But we're going to do another one of these together. And then it'll be just this today, right? So let's all get on the same page again. Exhale, so we're in the same place. Inhale, soft belly breath. Exhale, just a regular exhale, but at the end, pull the low belly up to the spine, up through the crown of the head, and then see if you can hollow out your abdomen. Soften belly before you inhale, and then inhale. And then just stand up and let that go. My camera's closer and in, so I'm not going to stand up. So we're going to do one more time. And this time, when you do it, you're going to try to keep your exhale out. So it's retention of exhale, right? But then I'm going to let my belly try to pull up and soften down and pull up and soften down. And it looks something like this, right? You'll still be able to soften the belly before you breathe in. So come on into the position, right? And exhale, so we're in the same place. Inhale and exhale. Hollow out the abdomen, pull up the belly, soften down the belly. The whole time the exhale stays out, right? Pull up the belly and soften. And do that one or two more times, whatever works for you. But again, you want to be able to soften the belly first and then inhale. And then maybe come down. You can stand up if that's better for you. Otherwise, come down and just sit in Vajrasana. I'm sitting on my heels. If that's not available, use a block, etc. Right? Take care of yourself. Notice. Bring your hands together at your chest. Bow your head. Namaste, friends. And once you start to get into this, right, in the yoga texts, it's written how Agni Sara is basically a yoga practice within itself. And that's how powerful the ancient yogis believed it to be, right? So you didn't need the asanas and the this, that, and then the meditation, right? This was it. This was a practice within itself. That said, that doesn't mean you need to do it 10 times a day, every single day, and really pump and push into it, right? But start to play with it. And then we can start to add in bandhas. We're already adding them in. We're just not talking about them because otherwise you get sidetracked, right? Or we can start to add in bandhas, and we can start to add in like noticing the circulation of energy in various things. But this is where we start.